drop my croissant.
My croissant.
My croissant.
2000, what is it? 2008 called. They want their vines back. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Ashe and Shade Committee. I am, as always, your DM and host Curtis, joined here by my lovely friends. I got Chris, I got Josh, I got Rachel, and if y'all are looking at the stream right now, we have a really cool new overlay. So this is fucking rad. So this was made by our friend.
I gotta make it
Callus.
bigger.
You do have to make it.
How do I
bigger.
make it bigger? I can't see it.
Well, that's on you, dude.
It is pretty.
But no, this was made by Callus, one of the folks in the chat. So thank you very much, Callus, for this wonderful fucking overlay. It's one of the, and I've apologized that this was entirely because nothing was aligned properly. So I appreciate that my horrible sense of visual design created this lovely thing. So thank you again. It's lovely.
Are those fucking binder clips?
Yeah. Binder
What
clips, tape,
the
like
fuck?
it looks so fucking crisp. Also, if you look, you can see our fucking logos like embossed on the background.
That's what I was looking at. The
It's
background.
rad. It's so fucking cool. So wanted to get that out of the way really, really quick. So yeah, thank you, Callus. If you go to, I believe it's Prop Fox on Etsy, you can check out the rest of his cool shit because it's fucking wild. If you want other cool shit, other real quick sponsored bit of the episode here, you can go to our actual sponsor of tonight's episode, Sheckler Woodworking, and get yourself some stickers. These would look great on a nice, cool overlay like this. We even have transparent ones. They won't look quite as good as the embossing, but it's pretty close. And
Look how transparent it is.
Look how. Listen, I figured out the way you tell them apart. If it's got the real little lines, like real faint lines, that's the transparent one. If it's just
I figured out that it was the only one I haven't used yet. And
you know that works. I'm not here to fuck with. I'm not here to throw off your groove. But yeah, like if it's got the really thin lines like around the wrist, that's the transparent one. But you can get any one of these individually, or you can get the full set. We might be looking to throw in a discount on there in a little bit. We'll see what happens. But
Wait,
yeah,
like
you
a
could also just look at the
5%
one that says clear on the back.
not all of them say clear. That is a custom edition that is put together by
You save that. That'll be worth money someday.
one day.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. I also figured it out. If you look at the Nat 1, one's like...
Natural.
One's like
Looks
colored
clear to me.
one's like not.
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah, if you want to know what we're talking about, just buy the stickers. They're not that expensive. And then you too can stare at them on stream while
Callus
people go,
has the
"What the
stickers
fuck are
on
they
their
looking?"
laptop.
Yes, we love it. We love the hype. I think my favorite is still on my buddy's like Switch because it fades. It's like the red and green on the back, and it kind of crosses over, and the logo looks. That's so good. It's so pretty.
nice.
I'm gonna put mine
Zach
on
put
the
his in his
motorcycle.
dice tray. That looks fancy too.
One day we'll get dice trays made with that art, and that'll be like the high point for me.
Can we get a one of those leather cow burn? What are those called? Branders. Can we
I
get
have
like
one
a
of those.
brander, but with the 5% chance logo, and then we can just go into all of our shit? That'd be
It's
sick.
fun. You
You
get to
can't
use fire.
brand people, Chris.
You can
That
brand
is
so-
stickers
I'll
with
do
the
it.
brand.
I
I'll
know
do it.
you
Next
will.
in-person session. Let's go.
I don't want that. No. I'd like to veto that if I can.
What if we hold hands?
Then who's doing the branding?
Josh.
Oh, I don't want that either. I want that less.
I would trust Josh to brand me.
I brand wood.
I'm really just the same thing as wood, but fleshier.
Yeah, I think you contain a little
Tree
more water.
flesh. That's what wood is. Tree flesh.
No, we're stopping this.
Hey, my headset's on backwards. I was like, why is my cord on that side? Haha.
All right.
I think
Man,
we've derailed in
Critical
record
Role
time.
sponsored segments must be like we're not even sponsored by NordVPN and do little skits. This is all just off the cuff. We're better.
We should do a skit sometime. That'd be fun.
We should. I have hats. And I have pasties I could put over my nips.
No. Underbust counts on Twitch.
Does it?
Yeah.
I'll only show over bust. Top half of nipple pasty up. It's a
I'm just
loophole.
gonna get Chris a
Just
crop
saying.
top. That's all he needs.
Look at Xylus's band hammer.
Like one of the ones you tie in the
Listen,
front.
Somebody's got to be in charge. Oh God. Anyway, so when
Go.
last we left off with our intrepid heroes, Josh, I know your week's been crazy. Otherwise, I would make you do it since you weren't here last week. But we had some one-on-one time with Yati and Tano, running around Yati's library and learning. We all learned some things about ourselves, about the world, and about what's going on. Thalia got a lot of good information, and also some personal information was shared, and she was kind enough to leave Yati with a pair of memories pulled directly from her mind. The first one, I don't remember if it was the first one. It's been because you did your family's story, which is the second one, or was that
It's
first?
been.
And then the second,
Yeah,
the second.
I don't
one,
remember.
I'm so sorry, I can't remember the second one. The second
Wing
memory
it.
that you gave.
Where's my D2?
Ronan helped me with that one.
Oh yes, the story of the Cherry Fairy. Yes. Yes. Sorry, my brain is mush today, so this is going to be a whirlwind of a time. So yeah, you left a pair of memories, left in crystal facsimiles of the object that triggers that memory, with Yati in exchange for the information that he's provided and his hospitality.
Oh,
Ronan spent some time sparring with Tano, and
Yeah,
learned.
two old guys fought for a
Yeah,
while.
two old dudes fought for like 3 hours. It was weird, but learned some things about yourself and about the wall of swords and weapons that Tannel keeps here in the armory, and that each of those weapons has historical significance to it. These are all weapons of legend. And you left your weapons on that wall in exchange for a pair of kopeshes that are older, that are straight out of a Goliath bedtime story. You also learned a neat trick that as a descendant of the first magic users, the Giants, the first race to walk the world in the midst of the creation war, you have a unique grasp of magic. And if you can speak the true name of something and know it fully and utterly, you can kill almost anything.
Convenient.
Mechanically, if you know something's true name and speak it in Giant and you hit, you will deal the maximum amount of damage you can do with that swing.
oh,
But Tannel was also discussing with you why you are so committed to killing Umshara, to removing this thing from the world. And Ronan, what were you thinking when you left that conversation? When you went back to the main hall?
It was a week ago. Contemplating the importance of listening. Ronan's a bit bullheaded and sometimes doesn't listen. Sometimes he uses the Goliath stereotype of not wanting to listen to try to get out of having to listen, because cognitively he can listen. He just doesn't want to. He tried to pull that on the Dick Wizard back in season 1 when he was like, I found these people torn to bits in the sewers and it has your name all over it. And I was like, oh, you're boring, bye. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah. He might be contemplating a bit more on her importance to keep things in balance, but also there are so many bad things in the world that are left to be bad, and there aren't that many good ones. So if he has the opportunity to be that good force, leveling out some of the bad, he's probably going to take it.
And Tannel was aware of that. Because as you were putting your weapons on the wall and saying you were leaving them for the next person to come by and pick them up and take them, Tannel said, if you are half the force that you say you are, they won't be needed. There won't be another person to pick up arms and fight against evil if you are going to go out and eradicate it. Thalia, what are you thinking as after Yati has taken these two memories and is preparing a very large, complicated-looking chart on one of the walls?
She's probably just glad that something will live on. Some story that she's told. And it's weird that it's one that she's part of. She wasn't expecting a story that she's part of to live on.
Two stories that she's a part of.
She figured she'd just find some really cool story and make sure it saw the light of day, and that would live on past her. So, one hand, she's really glad that something is now crystallized and everything like that. But also just oh, that's very strange that she's part of it.
You are part of the history now. So while you two are pondering listening and legacy, we turn the clock back a little bit and we find Lami. Where do we find Lami in this moment?
In a library, looking for books poorly. Ideally not about jellyfish this time.
Have you pulled any books off the shelves?
I would pull one more book off the shelf that just grabs my eye's attention. And then if that's not the right book, then I'm going to think about my life and try and meditate about it and be like, what in the fuck do I do in a library?
Give me an investigation check there, buddy. What are you hunting for?
It's an 11.
Okay. What are you hunting for?
I guess I would probably start with things about my family and see where does it come from? Where does it go? They're supposed to be dead, and people keep telling me they're not dead, and everybody seems to know that except me.
Okay. So as you're wandering around and you're looking for books, you've found yourself in a section where it is entirely written in Draconic. It doesn't look to be the histories section. But some of the texts are very old and very faded. It looked like they haven't been touched I'd say in a while, but in a library this size, as you're kind of wandering down, you're having a hard time all of the dust, there's small bits of sand kind of piling up where things aren't quite as well maintained in some of these back sections. And by the time you wander around, being followed by this chair that has, as you pull the book off the shelf, it kind of thumbed through it, and it looks like it's a history of different funguses in the world. It's not a good history book, but it's more of encyclopedia. Kind of toss it to the side, and the animated chair that's been following you around, kind of walks over, extends one of its feet, and pops it up and catches it, and is carrying it along with you. You find yourself lost.
Chair. Do you know how to look for books in this place?
Hmm?
It's an honest question, Chair. I'm not familiar with Dilbert's Dewey system, and I don't know.
The chair isn't... You've never seen a chair look puzzled before. But even you know that this chair is not used to being asked complex questions. And it kind of looks around a little and kind of walks over to an empty shelf, leans forward, and the couple of books, the book on jellyfish and the book on fungus, slide off onto this empty shelf. And it kind of steps back and then hops up in the air, so all 4 feet just go click, click, turns, and takes off down a hallway.
I chase the chair.
Okay, give me a...
Chair, wait!
Give me athletics,
Chair.
buddy.
Chair! I didn't mean to offend you. 21.
Okay. You're able to catch up to the chair as it is moving, and as you come up to it, it sort of stops, turns, and looks at you, and then like taps its foot, like taps twice. And they are the slats on the back kind of fold out, almost like a pair of arms, just like sort of on its hips.
I'm just gonna give him a shrug. I didn't mean to offend you. I don't know what. No.
The slat just kind of points at you, points at the ground, and then the foot taps again.
Do you want me to sit on the ground?
Tap, tap.
I tap the ground with my foot.
The slats just kind of pull together again, and it turns and starts to walk away again. It starts to move off down another hallway.
I guess I won't follow the chair. It doesn't seem to enjoy this.
And it scampers off. And as you're sitting there, you realize you're at an intersection of books. There's a couple of different hallways of books and aisles kind of crossing together. And you're sitting kind of in the middle of this hallway. And it's very quiet. Peaceful in a way. The only sound you can hear is a little bit of wind blowing through over the top of the cavern. Would you like to... Is this where you'd like to sit
I'm
down
gonna
and
sit
meditate?
here.
Okay. Is this where you want to meditate and think on your...
Yes, I just want to think about the things I'm looking for, and hopefully...
Okay.
I don't know what's gonna happen.
What kind of
Probably
stuff?
nothing.
What kind of stuff are you thinking about?
Things about my family, which I'm not really expecting to find, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Things about this blue lady who, anything that's written about her, I want to know about it. What has she done before?
Mm-hmm.
What else was I looking for? It's in the wrong notebook. Ooh. And then something, stories, tales, a guide, a step-by-step guide would be fantastic, but I don't think anybody's written one about what the fuck to do if you were a paladin and now you're not, and you're just like, yep.
Well, now what do? I've lost all my cool stuff. Okay. Great.
Like I've got no drive. All of my decisions were being made by a deity for the past time, and it was all what she wanted. What do I want to do? I don't know.
He's just gonna get teleported into the Idiot's Guide to Deicide game.
Other
He's
than
getting,
that,
we only see we get Josh runs 2 characters on the Sunday game. That's what we need.
The Kato switches with him. There can only be one.
Oh no! Don't give me Katos.
Your turn.
That's fair. That's honestly fair. Ronan with 2 casters is a dynamic I need. But Alami, as you're sitting there, thinking, meditating, Chris, you got that D3, buddy.
Yeah, the one that Rachel got me, and the one that Rachel
That's
has.
the one.
Or do
Rachel,
we
do you
both
want
get to roll one?
Rachel, do you want to roll the D3, or do you want Chris to roll the D3?
Whatever pleases
What if-
Chris.
What if we both roll it until we both get the same number?
Like it.
Sure.
Here we go.
3
Oh, it's crooked, but it's a 3.
counts.
We'll
Counts.
take it. Alami, as you're sitting there, cross-legged on the floor, on this tile floor, you hear a soft rustle of fabric and soft footsteps behind you. And out from one of the side hallways, you hear, "Well, pardon me, friend. You look like you could use a little help."
I could use some help. Do you know more than that chair that ran away?
Oh, you're taking advice from a piece of furniture, friend. That is not wise. If chairs were
Sometimes
any
they say good
smarter,
things.
if chairs were any smarter, they wouldn't let people sit on them. And sort of stepping out, looking around. Actually, what's your passive perception?
I believe it is an 11.
The voice is coming from behind you. And looking over your shoulder down one of the hallways, there's a figure leaned up against one of the bookshelves, very, very casually, with a hat pulled down kind of low over his face, in an immaculate set of noble's clothes in this dark steel gray that looks like either he was born in this suit or people spent hours fitting it perfectly to him.
You know what they say about a good suit? It's a good suit.
Well, you'd be damned right.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm the bookmarker here. I see to things that well, I come by every now and again and see what's been left around, what could use a little spritzing up. And you, my friend, look like you could use some spritzing up.
I
Like a
was
little-
indeed left around. Nobody should have left me in here alone, honestly.
Well, how be? Now you're not alone. He takes a gold coin out of his pocket, flicks it up, catches it, and just is.
Ooh!
You notice him kind of passing this across his knuckles. He goes, "What's on your mind, friend? What's bothering you? Sitting on the floor in a library like this?"
Lots of things bothering me, I guess. And I'm looking for books about the things that are bothering me. Unsuccessfully.
Oh, there's a lot of books in here.
I found one about jellyfish. Gonna read that later.
Well, tell you what. Tell me what you're looking for, and I'll see if we can maybe get a little lucky.
Let's start with the weird one. Supposedly, I have a family. I thought they were dead. Everyone keeps telling me that they're not, maybe dead. So that's confusing. So any records of that would be fantastic, but I'm really not expecting to find much.
No. Well, who knows? Tell you what. And you, for the first time, he lifts up his head, and you see that he looks human. There's no pointed ears. There's no major facial hair. he just looks like a vanilla human, except when you look at his eyes, it is a green, like old paper money. It's a very interesting shade of green you've never seen before on a person. And he smiles with perfect white teeth. And he goes, "Come on, sport. Let's see what we can find you." And he
Okay. Like a
reaches.
kid in a candy store. I'm going to follow him.
He doesn't move.
Oh.
He reaches out, drapes a finger along the shelf he's next to. Eeny, meeny, miny. Shunk. Pulls out a book. Underhands it to you. And you catch it. And
What does it say?
It says, "The Rise and Fall of Magister Hadrock. Protector and betrayer of the sun's light."
All right. Am I supposed to know who this is?
No. But I'm sure that's why you're here to read. Was that not what you were looking for?
I don't know. I haven't read it. It sounds like it could be useful. I don't think I'm going to learn much about my mother in there, but that's fine. I opened the book, I guess, and like I don't know if I would like leaf through it. I would struggle to read the first page.
Give me
like
That's an old book Rachel's holding.
flipping
Which
through.
might have a reference to something.
Oh no!
Flipping through this book real quick. If you want to do you want to do a quick parse? Do you want to try and read the first page?
Oh geez.
Tell me what you want to do.
I don't know. I would read the first page.
In Draconic, the introduction page is the story of Magister Hadrock, a paladin of the sun who fell to darkness, and what happens, and his rise to glory, and his meteoric fall back down to the slums, where he was basically, they lost him. The end of the story ends in him dead in the street.
This book kind of sounds like me, Mr. Suit.
Please call me Pip. My friends call me Pip.
Okay, Mr. Pip.
Well, was that something helpful, or it sounds?
I
You
think
said it
this
sounds like you.
is-
That seems like a useful thing to have.
I think this is pretty helpful to have. You got any other helpful ones?
I don't know. Why don't
Like
you?
maybe about blue dragon deities that
Oh, there's plenty of books.
like
on
to
those.
entice people and give them cool things, only to be a bit of a dick later.
Tell you what, and he walks up to you. That's faint, soft rustling of fabric. He doesn't make a lot of noise when he walks. He puts his hand on your shoulder. Goes, pick a book. Let's see if you're feeling lucky today.
Any book, I just pick one.
Just grab one.
All
What's the worst
right.
that can happen?
I'm gonna look around at all the books. Let's see. Go for one in the upper left.
Okay. Make a wisdom check for me at advantage. You're trusting your gut.
Glad it's at advantage. That was a 1. Oh God, wisdom check. Okay, so 19.
19. You reach your hand up and you start running your hand across the books. And it's none of those. But Pip goes, well, let's take a walk over here. And sort of keeps running your hands along the books until you find, oh, there it is. You pull down another dusty old tome that shouldn't be here in this section.
Oh. What is the section? And why shouldn't it be?
Looking around, you're still in like histories and things. But the other all of these histories are boring. These are tax records. You've wandered yourself over to like the historical and municipal records of dwarven cities and places you've never even heard of and can't pronounce because there's too many consonants that rhyme with door. Like it all rhymes with door and it all turns to mush in your brain. But you reach up and boop, you pull down a book. The Terror of the Azure Sky. A history. And Pip goes, well, I'll be. How do you think that got there? Somebody's doing a terrible job shelving these.
Now I think we're messing.
Me? No, my friend.
I'm just saying, you know where all these books are, and I just happened to not know where they were until you got here.
Tell you. No, it's not me. This is all you, my friend. Seems like your luck's turning.
We'll see.
What do you say? What do you say? One more?
You get it or I get it?
No, this one's all you.
Oh, right.
Let's see if your luck is truly turned. I can only do so much. My mother said I was a good luck charm.
Huh. Mine usually just yelled at me and told me to pick up my socks. I'm gonna reach for another book, bottom right.
Bottom right. Roll me another wisdom check. Actually.
Oh.
As you start to walk away and you walk away from Pip's hand, you feel a gentle radiance kind of pouring out from his hand. And you feel this nice gentle warmth like someone is guiding you. Would you like to use that guidance?
Yes, because I rolled a 5.
Perfect. So it becomes a natural 20.
Oh.
What?
Right?
That's not how guidance works.
No. If this was the spell guidance, yes. This is not. Let me rephrase.
Not the cantrip guidance.
Not the spell guidance. Not. This is not a spell that exists in any of your books, my friends. This is, Lami, as you're kind of feeling down and dejected and looking around, you're like, oh, I can't seem to find it. And you suddenly get this weird sensation of, oh, no, it should be here. But it's not in a place that you're looking at. There's rows of draconic history families that you're seeing. It's actually... And looking down, you realize that you've almost completed an entire circuit around this particular intersection. And you walk over and you find it wedged underneath some other books that look like they're supporting something. It's laying horizontal on this shelf. Reach in and pull it out.
What does it say?
Draconic lineages of Kondo and the lands beyond. You flip open the first page. It was published this year.
What?
Well, that'll do. Why is it so dusty if it's brand new?
That I can't tell you. I'm the book marker, I'm not the book cleaner.
you might want to tell them that they're slacking.
Oh, I would.
And if it's the chair, then don't tell him I said it. The chair's already mad at me.
Tell you what. You take those books with you.
Mm-hmm.
The chair should be back any moment now. I'm sure the proprietor here has himself a walking feather duster that I can talk to about getting this place cleaned up. But, I'm glad you were able to find what you were looking for.
I mean, me too. I didn't really have very high expectations. You see, I have a much better friend at books that could probably find them, but
You don't need
it's not
friends.
usually my game.
Tell
Friends
you
are
what,
nice to have, but okay.
That's fair. I apologize. Would you like to be my friend?
I suppose so, yeah. You helped me find some books.
Well, you look like a man who was in dire need of some help and guidance, so I am happy to assist.
How do you know all these things about me just by looking at my face?
You, my friend, remind me a lot of when I was your age. Had a bad turn or two. Thought I'd lost everything.
And then what happened?
Well, I got lucky.
Huh.
Reaches out to shake your hand.
I shake his hand.
He shakes her hand. He goes, "What was your name again?"
Lami.
Lami. It's a good name. And you feel something cold press against your palm.
What was that?
Pulls the hand away and goes, "You need anything, give that a flip. I'll come calling."
Just flip it?
Yeah.
No. Nice to meet you then, Pip.
Good to meet you, Lami. And he steps off into the dark, and his footsteps go maybe 1 or 2 paces into the darkness, and then there's no sound. And from the direction he walked off, you hear of the chair coming back, and it has a drawer resting on top of it that has what looks like a catalog system, like a card catalog drawer on it. And it kind of runs up to you and like presents the card catalog to you for you to start sifting through.
I don't need that. Thank you though, Chair. I found the Here, I'll carry that. You carry these books and I'll put it back right where it belongs. You know, second thought, just take that back and I'll carry the books. Just point me to the way out of here, please.
And you two start heading out back the way we went. Your trip back leads you back a whole bunch of other different places and directions. But you don't see any sign of anybody here. As you're walking
Hello? Hello?
The chair stops, turns, and takes one of its legs and runs it across the slat, and you hear shh.
I didn't know you could do that, Chair.
Shh. Continues on. As you come back, you do hear Thalia and Yati talking. You mostly hear Yati, but you do hear the higher tones of Thalia's voice echoing through this place because there are no doors. But you have a little bit of time if you want to do some reading and see what you learn.
I'd do some reading. I'd find like a comfy place and attempt to read some books.
Okay. There are what looks like a couple of very comfortable, poofy chairs hanging out near the oasis.
I want a poofy chair.
Okay. So, which book do you want to read?
I want to start with the lineage book. That one sounds the least important.
Okay. Okay. Roll me. Yeah. So what's your base intelligence?
10.
10. So reasonably intelligent. It's family trees. It's genealogies. It's a little dense.
They're usually
it's-
boring books.
It's not the cleanest. It's not the prettiest thing to look at or read. But you're able to parse through it for the most part and get a lot of what you're kind of looking for. Did you have specific questions?
Whether or
just
not they're
really-
alive. If anybody from my family is alive, or where the hell they are.
Your family's lineage, tracing it back, goes back roughly from this math. It does go back. You can trace your family line back about 1,200 years.
Ooh.
It's a little easier with dragons because crossbreeding families crossbreeding tends to have a child of one color or another. You don't have a lot of cross pigmentation, but your brass family line does go back about a little over millennia. But in your most recent entry, your family's tree, you are the only piece of that branch.
How do they know I'm alive? Oh,
Your
people.
name is on there, and it is marked with a broken hash mark. And from the key on the page, it is missing, presumed dead.
Oh. They've got to update that.
Your father's name, directly above you, is marked alive, but ostracized. And it gives a footnote for later in the book, if you want reference for why he was ostracized.
I will reference that. What's it say about dear mum?
For your mother, dead.
Oh. R.I.P. Well, that's weird. Okay, I want to see the page, the asterisk, the thing, the.
Your father, according to this genealogical text, was ostracized and exiled for the murder of your mother.
Well, that is not accurate.
That's what the book says.
I don't think he would do that.
There's also a note: no body was ever found.
They need better criminal investigators, clearly.
Sorry, my fantasy setting doesn't have better cops. I'll work on that. I'll work on that in the next iteration. Help! I've made a police state. It's fine. But yeah.
Okay, we've learned that.
Do you want to dig for anything else? Or are you just going to sift for it? Do you have a specific question? If you've got a specific question, ask and I'll tell you if you need to roll for it.
About family? No, I don't really have a specific question about family. I just wanted to see if anybody had any updates on them because they all seem to know things that I don't.
According to the book, your mom's dead, your dad's alive, but exiled. Like you do. Typical.
Dad's around somewhere. That's just normal stuff, you know? Happens to everybody when they come of age.
Yeah.
Is your dad Yoda?
I don't know.
Like after the Clone Wars, he was like,
Maybe.
into exile, I must go.
Do Dragonborns shrink as they age?
Some, not all.
Okay.
So I'll let
Put
you...
the family book
Yeah.
aside for now. I don't want to look too far back yet, but I also want to know who had my sword first and where the fuck it came from. I should look at that first, then I'll put the family book aside.
Okay. Roll me investigation.
That's a natural 20.
Ooh.
The dice care not about his family, but they do care about that sword.
Good sword.
Also, thing I forgot to mention, because I thought you would look at it. When Pip walked away, you looked in your hand. There was a large silver coin.
Yeah, he said flip it when I need him.
With 2 heads on it.
Oh, God.
One of them with his big jovial smile, and it's Pip's face. You realize as he's in this jolly, this happy grin. And the other one is almost like a caricature frown. Just like
That's a hard word.
Buddy. Buddy.
Oh. It's Slisk, bruv.
It's Slisk.
Sure.
The staff
That's a niche internet meme. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Did he have a staff?
No, he did not.
I didn't have the staff of Slisk, bruv.
Okay, got it. I
So
have a coin with his face on it.
With your natural 20.
Uh-huh.
That sword, you're able to parse it back. Honestly, looking through the genealogical tree doesn't tell you anything about their belongings. But you start with your father and start working your way up the family tree and seeing where the branches happen, looking for fighters, looking for warriors. And it turns out it was a wedding present. Gifted when your original ancestor, 1,200 years ago, was marrying. It's almost a peace offering between 2 groups of Dragonborn that did not necessarily see eye to eye. Think Romeo and Juliet, except with a better ending.
Right.
And that sword stayed with that family, following down that familial line, passing back and forth between firstborn children, not necessarily sticking with one gender or another. Not going to the first son, not going to son or daughter, or neither going to the firstborn. And there were times where it went missing. There are times where it was used in battle and it was sharpened to be a weapon. But it was a symbol of the family going back to its founding.
Nice.
So you had a 1,200-year-old sword, and now you have bits of a 1,200-year-old sword.
They're just the good ones, the handle and some sharp parts. Just not as much sharp part.
So, doing that deep dive took a little bit of time. I can let you do a skim of the other 2 books, or I can let you do a deep dive on one of them.
Oh, let's just skim them for now. Do I get to take the books with me? Can I check these out of the library?
If you've got something to leave behind.
Oh, God. Damn it. All right. Is it one thing per book or just one thing?
I can give you the rough overview of the books, or I can let you get a deep dive and get an answer to a question you have.
Let's just do rough overview for now.
Okay. So, the book on the Fury of the Azure Sky, Yeva, is a story of her draconic history. Apparently, this was a dictated biography from her when she
From whom?
From Yeva, from the dragon herself, as she was coming into her own. Blue dragon. She's a little proud. She's a little pompous, and wanted a biography of her, in her own words, her rise to power. But she wouldn't be deigned to write it down. She hired somebody, held them at lightning breath point. It was written down in not her hand. And it tells the tale of her fighting and tricking her way to be the last surviving member of her clutch, killing off her 2 brothers and 3 sisters to ascend and be the last surviving one, usurping both sets of parents and taking first her mother's network of connections and spies and her father's connection with the various arms and armorers in the world, and building up basically making power play after power play and asserting herself as a puppeteer behind the curtain of many conflicts. There is a chapter on Yati, which is honestly just mostly disparagement, and talking about how Yati thinks he's hot shit with all his books, but look what I can do with all this knowledge. I don't need books. I have people that will tell me the information. And as the book ends, sort of reading through it, the biographer notes down that as she's sort of walking around her hoard, showing off the various things that she's accumulated, she has various weapon molds scattered along one wall of her hoard. Axes, hammers, swords, pikes, things like that. And she, when asked about them, she laughed and said, "These are for those who will come after. Once I'm above all of this."
Interesting.
And then you want a quick overview of
Oh, the Sun Man, yeah. Praise him.
So, yeah. Hadrock. Hadrock the Blinding. The Sun's Fury. Was the pride and joy of the Sun Kingdom. It's a smaller group on the outskirts of the world that worshipped the sun as if it was the only deity that mattered. They praised it so much. Praised that sun. There are stories of him going out and single-handedly smiting down entire armies, taking down one of the last remaining giants in this world in single combat. Before he was tricked. Now, the book is a little flowery with the language. An agent of the darkness, a trickster queen, but the name is never mentioned. But this paladin began to doubt his faith, began to doubt he was doing the right thing, began to doubt that his God was as good as he believed. And when he went to fight again against an army that the name seems completely incomprehensible to you, the words look like they're moving when they name this army. Against this army.
Was it 100 years ago?
No, much longer than that.
Yeah, that's good.
When he went toe-to-toe with the champion of the other army, he fell. He lost the fight, and he was spared. But his people spurned him because he did not have their god's grace. He was no longer their champion. and he traveled to find other gods that may accept him. But every time he picked up a symbol of another god, they would burn him. And he became known as Hadrock the Castless. Hadrick, who is alone. And he vanished for 20 years until a body was found on the streets of Kondo, covered in brands of different gods. Some were common and familiar: the sigil of Mount Celestia, the geared wheel of Mechanus, but others were deeper and darker things. Demons, devils, things from the abyss. Hadrock found any god accepting a follower, and they all turned him aside until he was left with absolutely nothing.
That's a grim story.
It's around that time, as you're finishing up that book, kind of setting it down. Do you say that out loud? Wow, that's a grim story.
Yeah.
You hear,
Hi.
and Tannel is standing near you with his arms crossed in front of him. I'm sorry, have you finished?
Quite finished, actually.
Excellent. Yati would like to speak with all of the committee members together, if you don't mind.
Oh, we can do that. We could do that.
Excellent. Please come with me.
Go with them.
Standing off by the doorway, you do see Adam and Evelyn. They're standing closer than they have been, and they look like they've been talking. Both of them look a little chagrined. But it looks like they are speaking more candidly now. And as Tannel walks by with you, they both stop, wait for the two of you to go, and then follow behind, a few paces behind.
Is the axe still in the bag?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep.
Axe bag.
So, Tannel returns with Lami, Adam, and Evelyn in tow. And Yati goes, Good, we're all here. Good, I only have to make this explanation once because this is going to be very, very complicated.
Oh no.
Ronan sits down.
So about our problem that we have. Time is part of the problem. If that makes sense. These are not threats from now. These are threats from something coming forward, something that is ahead of us, that is coming back to deal with us now.
We can do that? Who can do that?
Very few things can send messages like this, can send anything like this. Let me... Here, and he rummages around in his desk drawer and pulls out an enormous hourglass. And he goes, So, there is sand in this hourglass for 1 hour. Correct? Yes, that is why it is called an hourglass. So I turn it upside down, and he does.
That's what we call it that.
Sand starts to sift through. And he goes, We are all traveling. Think of time like a forest road. if we stay on the path, we all move at the same speed as the sand.
Why is there sand in a forest?
A good question, Ronan.
That is a very good question. That's a geological feature of some specific areas, typically on the northern or southern side of the Kundoan Desert and the Rasping Dunes. But your point stands. If you and I spend a day in this room, we spend the same number of grains of sand, the same number of seconds in this space, and we experience those seconds at the same time. And I think part of... we all experience that at the same time. We all travel on this journey together at the same speed.
What if we stop?
What if we stop indeed? And he reaches in, picks out, and like with one very large dragon talon, pins a grain of sand to the side of the hourglass.
They're actually like boulders inside like this.
Sand is a relative term. It's a very large hourglass, but it's big enough you could see that grain press up against the scales of his finger. And he goes, Ronan, pretend this is you. You are no longer traveling at the same speed as all of your friends. You are stuck here, waiting for something to happen. The rest of time is moving on without you. And he lets it go. And then you watch this ting, 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 ting fall back through. I feel like I've lost some of you here.
Oh, no, I think it's like things keep going and then you're standing still.
And if you were to stand still and things pass you by, eventually, and he takes the hourglass and turns it back over, eventually the past will catch up to you.
Like a clock.
Because it's a circle.
Because it's a circle and times are circles. That's why clocks are round.
I'm familiar with the concept.
The hourglass may have been a poor example.
It's a sandy forest. No.
Thalia, are you getting this?
Is that how ghosts work? Do they just wait around until something good happens to them?
No, that's a square.
Ghosts take more time. They are in a slower... they move slower through time than we do. They're not necessarily stuck. They move slower than we do.
So are you saying that if we became ghosts, then we could walk through time instead of run like everybody else?
That's not a terrible metaphor, no. They see time differently than we do. And if you were, say, to stop moving, and time proceeds without you, eventually the past will catch up to you. And I believe that's what's happening far ahead of us.
Someone stopped 100 years after the 100 Years' War.
Perhaps beyond that. We're not sure. But somewhere up ahead of us on the road, we are moving at the same speed as another group of people, another group of adventurers. And they're just over the horizon. We will never catch up to them. But if one of them steps off the trail and waits for us to catch up to them, and they step back onto the trail and rejoin us, they have traveled temporally. The opposite happens. That would be easier than taking something from the past and moving it forward. They have to run twice as fast as everyone else.
We could run pretty fast.
I believe, Ronan, if I may, I believe this is what's happened to you. when
You ran too
Umshara
fast.
took your life. This is not a curse. You are fully aged.
Oh, that sucks.
She took you, grabbed you by the back of the neck like a little kitten, and placed you at the end of your personal timeline. She shortcut all of that time and put you there. And I'm sorry that that is not a curse I can fix. But that is what gave me the idea that something is being dropped behind us, behind them, and waiting for us to encounter them.
The colors
So-
of robots. The green, red, Roy G. Biv, the little wizard with the little hand feet.
Sorry, you lost
Do you not know
You
that?
lost Curtis with the little wizard with the hand feet.
What? You've never seen a Roy G. Biv music video?
We'll save that
What?
for
I'm
break because
sharing
I don't
this
know
in
what's
Twitch
happening.
chat.
I don't know what's happening.
Oh
You're
my.
all required to go watch this.
Oh, good. Chris is giving us required reading. That's my job.
I have power to do that, right?
You
Yeah,
do.
I do. You all watch that later.
I think something happens ahead of us. And they're being sent back to do something. But there is a point where something very bad is going to happen. And I'm not sure what it is.
Right. So in conclusion, sand is slow sometime. And you don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know. What
Or
I do
when.
know is this. When I can kind of figure out.
Oh.
The other thing is, whoever is sending these back has tremendous amounts of energy. To separate something from time itself is either a fae or a very, very strong wizard who can isolate reality separate from time. To someone inside, they would step in, wait an hour, wait a day, maybe not have to wait at all, and step out further back on the path than they were.
So here's a crazy theory.
Oh no.
Which
Chris,
I might-
Chris, I need you to know that if you pin down my plot perfectly, I'm canceling the stream and we're going home because you've determined the entire course of the game.
This is either bonkers or this is what it is.
I'm gonna be so upset.
In the future, our ageless robot friend determines that they were the bad guys and now he's trying to fix it. Because Robbie is weird.
That's a fair statement. That's a very fair statement.
And who has access to other dimensions worth of robots? And collectively, through those hundreds of thousands of robot brains, could maybe figure out how to stand still in time.
Well, now I'm confused.
Well, the stream didn't end, so I'm assuming I'm wrong. Or he's very disappointed in himself, one or the other.
That would be... So why? Why would he send?
They're weird.
They are, but they are creations of. They are creations of yours. So the weirdness carries over from you guys. Sorry, I would not have. That's not how I would have made them, but that's fine. But we know whoever's sending them back has tremendous amounts of magic or understands reality better than most mortal wizards. Most mortals, period. This is honestly mostly conjecture for me at this point. But we also know that it is on a cycle. There is a pattern to this.
Like a clock.
Almost. How familiar are all of you with the tides and lunar cycles?
Thalia.
Moon go up.
I
moon
might
come
actually,
down.
now that I think about it, I might actually be.
Moon
They grew up on a
sometimes
coastal
small.
town.
Yeah.
Moon get big, moon get small.
Yeah, Thalia would absolutely know about high tide and low tide.
Every so often, moon real big.
Very big. It appears to be as the moon's orbit around us changes, they are arriving when the moon is at its closest point to the material plane.
Moon real big.
Moon very big.
Big.
When moon very big, we have incursions. And he points to one of the charts on the wall from a place called Urkest Station on the southern frozen pole of the plane. And you can watch, like clockwork, in this looping, curving pattern, tracking the lunar orbits, and then there is an increase in chronomancy briefly, and then it fades. But it is not every time the moon is at its closest. It is somewhat cyclical, but it seems to be coming every 2 or 3 times that it gets closer. And I think there's something else to this. There's another piece that we're missing to fill in this pattern. I'm not sure what it is.
I'm not sure either.
It could be weather conditions. It could be seasonal. It could be.
How often is this cycle? Like, I know you say it's every 2 or 3 times, but like, how often? What's the frequency of one?
One full cycle is. Kind of looks. Yeah, it's every 2 or 3 months.
Oh.
It might be. Hold on. And he looks. He goes, Nope. I should have. Tannel, can I have? And Tannel just reaches over and hands up a pair of glasses, and he goes, Thank you. Puts them on and adjusts. He goes, oh, no. And he takes the chart down, makes a couple of quick sketches, and puts it up, and you notice as the cycle is getting tighter and tighter as time progresses. He goes, the cycle, it started out at 6 months and now is speeding up.
That would imply whatever bad thing is happening is getting closer.
Yes. Or they're sending more things back.
So what do we do about these things?
To be fair, if I figure out how to do something once, then it takes me a while to figure out how to do it again. And then once I figure out how to do it again, then I'm faster at doing it again, and I'm faster at doing it again and again, and then it's just on.
does have an excellent point.
They kind of did a whoops. How'd that happen the first time? Then ooh, we did it again. And then ooh, oops, I did it again.
Once is coincidence, twice is a pattern, third time is intentional.
I'm gonna be honest, Yati. You've lost me a little here. But
Bad
whatever you're
things-
proposing sounds great.
Bad things are coming from ahead of us in time.
What
From
do we
the
do
future.
about that?
Well, they're coming back for a reason.
Technically, they're not coming back. We're catching up to them because they're not moving.
Yes. Yes. They are being sent back. They're being delayed in their own time for something.
Is that what happens when your watch breaks?
No. No, you continue traveling. Your watch just doesn't keep up with you.
Well, if you're in like
How's
a
that
dark room
line-
that no one knows you're in.
How's that line go about so the future exists or something?
So that tomorrow exists?
That's the one.
I think the full version of that was in the thing that we asked a certain person to send us the text file of that we stopped taking notes on.
The actual line is by our bones and blade we fight so that tomorrow may exist. Is the completion of that phrase.
We eat the
Oh.
mountains, we drink the sea.
So
Hmm.
someone's
Say that one
coming.
more time. Say that
Uh,
one more time for me,
by
please.
our bones and blades we fight so that tomorrow may exist.
Thank you.
I will update that document tonight, so that way we all have it.
Dog.
But yes, from the memory of Ergen. So are they protecting their future? Are they helping?
I don't know.
What do you know? Well, what do we know about your friend Robbie?
He's nice. Sometimes.
He was found in a cradle.
He's one of the... No, he's not one of the things that they sent back because he came from what's-his-face?
From Gino.
Gino. Unless it's Gino doing it.
It's Gino from the future.
To right the wrongs of putting real consciousnesses inside of constructs that they didn't want to do in the first place.
So why would he be
I'm
sending...
also talking like young Ronan. I've forgotten. My goodness, how could you let this go on for so long?
Because I... That's a great question.
Oh no.
Chris. That's a great question. And doing great for an old man who's shuffled to the end of his timeline.
Hmm.
I can see wheels turning.
Hmm.
I can almost smell the smoke coming out of my own brain.
Of your brain?
My brain hurts.
Well, Robbie is a magical robot from 100 years ago that thought he was doing justice for Mechanus, but Mechanus doesn't know who he is. So he's really the product of some other power, which is Gino. But where did Gino get the power to make Robbie? Because Robbie and Firo have had babies, but they did that through shoving, just packing energy into these bodies and then children were made.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Children were made. So where'd the energy come from to make Robbie and all of the other ones?
Where did indeed?
Or when? Maybe it's when.
My head hurts.
I don't believe it's when.
Oh.
I do. That is a good question, Ronan.
Fuck, is this an execute order 66 situation?
There aren't any Jedi, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Anymore? That was the Aarakocra. That was the bird people. It's already happened. We're too late.
We're sending people back now. We're sending people back now to kill off people that have been dead for 100 years. Good job, team. Way to participate.
My.
It took them a while to figure out how to do it.
Is it possible they're here to help?
I mean, they could maybe. Would anybody ask? What do we do right now? I this is all confusing to me.
Is there anything that not knowing about this war that no one knows about? Is there anything bad about that?
But wars are usually bad.
Yeah, but like the fact that no one knows about it. Like, are there a bunch of people living underground that don't know why they're stuck down there?
Go ask them.
We can't.
Try.
I think
I
Blaze
don't
tried
know.
to open a door and it didn't work.
Ronan, I'm out of good ideas. There's.
Well, then let's take some bad ones.
Robbie is all of our fathers, and we are his disappointing children, and he is here to right his wrongs of the past.
Could be. Or we could get rid of all of the sand, and then nothing can happen.
Mmm.
And time comes
What if
to
we
a
just
complete
all
standstill.
stopped? Well,
Right.
We figured this out. Ooh, if we figure out what they're trying to do and it is bad, then we, future us, could then stop moving to then go back and tell past us what was going on.
Oh
Now.
no, here we
So
go.
really, like in 20 seconds, young me could walk through that door and tell us what the problem was the whole time.
Could. And Tanel and Yati turn and wait 20 seconds, pointing at the doorway. 20 seconds goes by. Young Ronan does not walk through the doorway.
Sad. I mean, sick.
I believe they're only sending back one thing at a time. If they were here, which tells us one of two things. They are here to help and are trying to keep things from changing too much. Or they are here to hurt, and they are very, very capable of doing it. They do not need to send armies when 7 will do. Because there will be 7. And kind of looks at the chart again and points. And he taps and goes, here's today. There are 3 more projected events coming. 3 more temporal incursions over the next 4 months or so. As for what we do, we can try to find where this next traveler is going to land. And we can ask them some questions.
Where'd the last one land?
The last one landed, and he reaches over, pulls over a large map, and taps a finger on a piece of forest just east of Coramfor,
The Sand Forest.
in the Elderwood. He goes, this one landed here.
Oh.
Is that red?
No.
That's the guy that the trees that Terry's
The robot people that look like normal people, those?
Yeah.
The timing on this last landing, looking at the date, about a day or two before the mayor's wedding.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Not
no.
what I was thinking of at all.
No.
Yeah, not what I was
Cat?
thinking.
No.
I went too deep and
You
too
did.
greedily.
You went way too deep in the lore, which I appreciate. I appreciate the
Too
deep cut.
and the
Okay.
robot cats? The hunter killers? Hunter seekers?
No,
It
those
wouldn't
are
have been
old.
Bartholomew.
No.
Before the mayor's wedding. Before the mayor's wedding. Before the mayor.
2 days.
Did you see anything
Well,
aside
at
from
the wedding. At the wedding was bad. But I don't think that was because of fried tempura.
something unusual and out of place? If it's being sent back, it would have to observe. It would have to try and keep an eye on things. What'd you say, Rachel?
That Modron. Oh, the green. Right?
That might be it. Small, so you don't have to make a large pocket for it to send it back.
Chris was right the whole time.
I was?
Small.
It's about Roy.
Roy G. Biv. We're on G. So wait, there's already red, orange, and yellow
That's 7.
out and about,
Mm-hmm.
Wherever they were.
and we just had G. So that means
They're
there's
pretty easy to
4
squish.
total. Well, no, because one of them's red. The first one's red, and red isn't very easy to squish.
But is that
So now it means there's an orange that we haven't found, a yellow that we haven't found, a green that we just discovered, and then we have a blue, indigo, and violet left. So we'd be
So we
running
don't
into
need-
blue.
I was blue. Who do we know any orange people?
No.
Orange robots.
You do not know any orange or yellow robots.
Being that Modrons, Thalia, can you message an individual Modron? Could you theoretically picture in your mind's eye that little green Modron, but instead of green, you pictured it being orange?
I mean, what if it isn't orange? Or like, what if it's not the same size? I mean, red's not the same.
But
Right?
red has a red Modron, which theoretically could be red's original thing, and then red put together an army of robot bodies that they jump through, like that one Marvel movie.
Ah, yes, the Marvel moving picture.
Yes, very stunning.
Agay of
Spared no
Utron.
expense. I'm gay of Utron.
I'm glad you guys are
Utron
getting
was
somewhere.
Was a great character.
My head hurts.
Because I'm no master in the arcane arts, but I think you have to be familiar with the thing that you're messaging. So perhaps, since you're familiar with the red one and the green one, you could try just picturing the two of those smushed together, which red and green smushed together obviously makes orange.
He's not entirely wrong in an additive coloring system when you're working with light, and I'm mad about it. Chris gets inspiration.
Yay! Instead of inspiration, can I get like 1 day of my age reverted?
Sure, I'll give that to you.
Yay!
Look at you being wiser. It's almost like you're learning your lesson.
Looks like you haven't aged a day, Ronan.
He's
Technically,
going
I haven't.
Anybody else got any cool ideas?
But so the red one doesn't like us, and the green one we kind of made a bad impression with. But the orange and the yellow, we don't really have a correlation with or knowledge of where they are. Actually, is there any record of an orange or yellow Modron in recent months, Mister? I get all the information from all over the planet deposited in a weird little box.
Ooh, we could ask my new friend Pip. He helped me find these books.
Who the fuck is Pip?
He's in the library. He's very nice.
Pip!
Actually, he gave me a coin and he
Tano.
told me to flip it.
Tannel, is this another one of yours? And the mood in the room gets a chill to it. Tannel goes, no, I thought there's not been anyone here except these 5. I checked.
Yeah, and Pip.
3, 4, 5.
What did this Pip look like?
In a very nice suit. Nice teeth.
Green. Wasn't he
Green
green?
eyeballs. Green eyeballs.
That's the guy! You met the guy!
But Pip is
What's his-
a
what's his-
guy.
Tannel comes up to you and turns you and looks and goes, what? Tell me exactly what he did.
Well, he helped me find some books, very handy, gave me the right books, and then gave me a coin with his face on it. That's what he looks
Show
like.
me the coin.
Here you go. And he said, flip it if I ever needed help again. Nice guy.
Yati, I do not know who this man is that he's talking about, but he is not here under my aegis, and I take it he is not here under yours.
Is this one of the fates? Is chance a fate?
No, Pip is a suit and he is a person.
No, the fates like things predetermined. I have heard of Lady Luck, but I have not heard of this Pip.
Pip was
Did
not
you
a
get
lady.
recruited into another cult?
No, he was just a friend who helped me find some books. Why is that weird?
I go looking for books / Pip.
Okay, roll me 2 investigation checks, buddy.
You know, Rodan, if you want to find him, he said you could just flip the coin and he'd be
That
back.
is a 19 and a 2.
Beautiful. As you are hunting, wandering around, there are no signs of habitation other than the 5 of you. Nothing.
Pip. Pip.
How long are you going to go adventuring?
Probably like.
I think
7
you could go
minutes.
adventuring for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, now's a good time as Ronan goes off on his adventure. Is anyone else going to go adventuring with Pip? Or adventuring to go find Pip?
No, I have the coin. I can just call him.
Tannel puts that coin back in your hand and goes, for everything that is good. Do not flip that coin here.
But he said he'd come back.
I do not want him here in my home.
Well, then Ronan's not going to find him. Why don't you want him here? He's a nice guy.
He was not invited. Uninvited guests are not nice. I hope Ronan finds him, and I will introduce him to my blade. As Ronan goes off into the distance, we're going to take a 10. So we'll be back. Hopefully give the brains time to like recongeal in their pots, and then we'll come back together and see what the game plan is. So don't go too far away, everybody. We'll be back. Bye.
Ooh, vex on kids figured out, my students, not my children, I don't have children, figured out that I have a large mouth. So they discovered this because they would bring me like cookies and like cupcakes when it's their birthday. Holy moly, the amount of cupcakes I have to eat now. And they get upset if you turn down their cupcakes.
Do you take the whole cupcake and you put the whole cupcake?
So I started doing that. And I've gotten really good at holding it like by the bottom of the cupcake like this with the wrapper on and pinching it and just like inserting the whole cupcake and just pulling the wrapper back out.
You're like a magician to these students.
So, yes. So, they've started bringing me larger and larger cupcakes as the year goes on to see how large of a cupcake I can fit in my mouth and still continue teaching within the next 10 to 15 seconds. Just,
I hope they bring you a cake at the end of the year.
We're back, internet. Hi. Thank God for that story. Completely derailing where my brain left off.
You have rails?
It does. What the fuck was I going to say?
What the fuck is up with that?
I don't know. I was confused. There's shapes and colors.
So yes.
Shapes and colors.
Shapes and colors. We have worked on a lot of those today.
Chat, did you watch Roy G. Biv?
Chris, I'm going to have to put this in the description now, and, like, I'm not ready for this amount of work. Oi, with the spam.
It's okay, I have powers. Only you can take them from me. Alexis cannot. Josh cannot.
There we go.
Oh, yep.
Problem solved.
Wait, can I undo that to myself?
Anyway.
Further research is required.
Anyway, we're here to play a game, not to fuck around in chat, please. So yeah,
okay, no,
your conversation with Yati bore some fruit. Presumably these colored modrons are coming from the future, stepping out of the flow of temporal traffic and stepping back in when they're at their destination. Like an escalator in an airport, but through time.
I'm not a mod anymore.
Probably deserve that. However, when Lamy brought up Pip, his new friend, many concerns. Ronan went off and did some adventuring, did not find any sign of any other human living in this place. And Lamy was instructed, do not flip that coin while you are in my home. I do not want uninvited guests in my house.
Just saying, it would be the easiest way to find him. I thought he was your friend. I had no idea. Fuck your chair talked to me in a worse tone than he did.
From over in the corner, you just hear it like an indignant kind of skirt. Chair like shifts itself across the floor.
Sorry, chair. I mean to throw you under the carpet like that. Can the carpet talk?
Just like a long, slow roll of the carpet just kind of flops across the floor. It is a rug, Lamy. I would appreciate it if you used the proper distinction.
Right, so you see, with all that, seeing a random man in a suit in your library really didn't weird me out that much.
be careful.
Do you want the coin? You could flip it.
No, I do not.
Oh. Why does this always happen to me?
I don't know. Were you looking for something? Did you find what you were
Yeah,
looking
book.
for?
Well, yeah, we found the books. I think I found what I'm looking for. One about the sun. Some stuff about my family. One about Yeva. I didn't really read them that in depth.
You just stumbled onto these books. Exactly the
Well,
books
yeah.
you were looking for.
Yeah, with his help. Because I don't know how Dilbert's system works.
That is fortunate you were able to find these. Almost too fortunate.
Yeah, it was really handy.
Do not flip that, please.
Nice guy.
No.
Well, shit.
We can look for this. We can look for the other two that have arrived. Which we can look and see if we have any significant landing places for these. Or we can find where one is coming and catch it there. That is what I would do, personally.
When's the next one show up?
Well, in about 3 weeks.
Where'd all the other ones show up?
Where? They've scattered. We have...
You have like a dot map.
Well, not particularly.
Was there a war significance to the Elder Wood?
No, it's just aside from the remains of...
Do we know where the other ones showed up? Is it like some kind of freaky pattern thing?
That's where I was going with the dot.
Don't know where the other ones landed because we didn't recognize the pattern until the third.
Right.
We can look back and see if we can identify the pattern from here, but there's not a lot we can do.
I mean, we met Red and Corumvor
But did
a
he
while
land
ago.
there?
I don't know, but that's where we met him. So it probably wasn't too far.
Why would it drop two that close together?
I don't know.
The Elder
I'm
Wood
not the
and
universe.
Corumvor are less than a day and a half, 2 days separated.
Robbie.
Yes, Ronan.
Did you know that besides red, there's also an orange, a yellow, and a green Modron?
Why are they color-coded?
Because rainbow. And the
Interesting.
song, the popular children's song, Roy G. Biv, that you should all know from your public schooling.
Ronan, I did not have schooling. I was made for war.
I think it's important for war to know your Roy G. Biv.
You said all of the children know this song.
Yes. Go find a child in the street and ask them to find a child that you do not know and say, "Child, sing for me Roy G. Biv. Tell me the tale of the wizard Roy G. Biv." And they will tell you.
That is a much easier solution. I was going to find a child I did know, but I do not know many. Wait.
Waiting.
Wait. This is Jimmy Stewart speaking.
No, no, I'm taking away your inspiration. You leave that man in
Aw.
Indiana where he belongs.
Okay. Yes, there are 4, because if there was red, and then Roy is red, orange, yellow, and then there's G, which is Biv.
Those are
G, which
coalition
is
colors.
green. Yes.
Is red of the coalition and not an anomaly?
Red's from the future.
That does not answer my question.
So maybe. Imagine you're in a forest road and all the sand is moving at the same speed and one of the sand stops. Eventually the sand comes back around the circle and you find the same sand
In the forest.
in the forest.
Is Thalia there?
Yes.
Hi, Robbie.
Hello, Thalia. How are you?
You know, fine.
I do not believe that, but now is not the time for that discussion. Is Ronan well? He sounds elderly.
Yeah, that was a hag thing.
Oh. I do not know how to care for the elderly. Should I tell him to go lie down?
No, he's actually got a fairly Ronin cognizant retelling of discoveries.
So, sand in a forest is time travel.
It could be an analogy.
An interesting one. Do you believe this is the case?
What's the case?
Something is being sent back.
The evidence is the evidence is looking like it.
Should I prepare the city
What?
should I prepare the city for battle?
Not yet?
Very well. I will enter in the preliminary warning stages.
DEFCON 1!
5. Ronan. 5 is the lowest one.
No, 1 is the first number.
Click. Right. Yati goes back to his charts and starts kind of looking around. You see him take a pen, write down something, fold it up, hastily press his thumb into it, and then shove it in a box, like a small little slit. You hear the faint just like of the letter being magicked away elsewhere. He goes, I'll find out if we know where these temporal the first 4 landed. But I will see what I can do there. See if there is a pattern. But I don't think this red one, landed where you... I don't think he landed where it all started. I think he traveled there. think this next one, I believe Tanel is right, and this next one is where we should put our efforts. Unfortunately, I don't know where it's going to land just yet. Which is a problem. I'm sorry to not have better or more actionable news, and I feel like all I have done is given you all a headache.
What time is it?
Rough guess. Late afternoon, early evening. The sun is like half set.
I took keen mind, bitch. You told me the exact time. Not really. I did not do that to you. It's past my bedtime. I'm old.
Yes, it is. And again, Ronan, I'm sorry I cannot do anything for you.
It's fine. I'll just go cry myself to sleep. It's fine.
It is a fine activity. Leaves you dehydrated afterwards. I would suggest a glass of water for the morning. Is there anything else that we can provide you? I know you were eager to return home. Unless that has changed and you would like to stay a little longer.
I mean, I did ask about what the I couldn't find any information on the Citadel when I was in the archives. And then the cat walked this way. So.
Oh, well, yes, the cat does what it wants. That is.
Oh.
We've tried to keep that cat out many times. It does not succeed.
Are there any ways to get back here faster than walking
There are several.
that we're allowed to do?
I can offer a few things in my power. Yati may have a few others. But this I can give freely. And Tanel steps forward, reaches in, and pulls out a whistle. It looks very familiar to one that you saw Evelyn with. It goes, "This is mine to give freely to you. Whichever one of you would like it is the only one who will be able to use it."
Daria's responsible.
I can't be trusted with a whistle.
And she's good at flutes.
I mean,
Is a whistle a flute?
I could also teleport too, if that's an option.
Oh, that's the much nicer way to travel. Here.
So Ronan, why don't you take the whistle and then I'll learn the teleportation. That way we have two methods just in case.
Okay.
This whistle will also let us know where you are, and he, my husband, or myself, or both will come as quickly as possible. However, if you need us to come prepared to fight, he holds it up, and he goes, "Play this. If you need us to come to just chat or have information exchanging," and he shows you a different note. Shows you the finger, and he goes, "Show me. Show me you know this."
This one and 2, is here to fuck something up. Or 1 and 3 is here to fuck something up. 1 and 2 is here to talk.
Yes, and do not if you ever play just this
1 and 3.
no,
just
no,
the middle
just
one?
3. If you play just 3, don't.
Oh,
For everyone's sake, don't.
all right.
That is a very different kind of message, please. Please do not. Yati comes from around his desk and goes, Come, Thalia, I'll show you the teleportation circle here. And he puts his shoulder against his desk and pushes. And you watch as the whole thing kind of shifts. And there's a heavy kunk. And several of the large flagstones in front of his desk just and flip over into a teleportation circle. Because please take your time, learn this, and as long as you give me ascending a little early, you are always welcome here.
So do you guys know Pip, or was he just...
I've never met... Well... No, I've never met this Pip. But I've heard stories.
Oh, what kind of stories?
It comes...
All nice, I'm sure.
He is just a bit of a savior, in some senses.
What does that mean?
Well... Nyati chimes in, when those are down on their luck and have nowhere else to turn to, there's always a man showing up to cut him a break. Their fortunes always seem to reverse there. At least for a while.
Sounds like a nice guy.
It's the fall that I'm worried about afterwards.
The fall of Mortu?
You can have that inspiration back for plugging both of our other shows in the same episode.
There you go.
I would be careful with that one. He never goes to folks with other options. He knows they're desperate. And he has such a way with words.
Well, I've never met a bad man in a suit, so I'm sure he's nice.
Are you taking those with you?
What, the books?
Yes.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask, but yes.
Ask Adam what happens when you try to steal things from my library.
Adam, what happens when you try to borrow things long-term from the library?
You have a very, very unpleasant time when you get dragged back by your wife.
I don't have a wife, that's perfect.
Also, you will never, ever experience shade while you are in this desert. I don't recommend it.
All right.
Whatever you think I stole, oh great Yati, I would give it back. But I don't know what you think I took. And you never told me what you think it is that I took. So until you tell me, I'm just going to be here and apparently unwelcome.
So what do you want for the books?
Well, what do you have to trade? Those are three interesting books. Draconic Genealogy, presumably for you.
That would be it.
The Story of a Fallen Paladin, which seems a little on the nose.
Yep, Pip got me that one. Nice guy.
And a book on my cousin.
Yes.
The cousin that you have renounced.
Right.
And want to murder?
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
What's your cousin's full name?
If
Out
I
of
knew.
curiosity.
If I knew, she would not be a thorn in my side.
I do not know your cousin's full name.
Because she has hidden it from me.
Well, ideally, she won't be in the future, so that's nice. So what do you want for the books?
What do you have to offer?
Not very much. I'll tell you what, though, if you are ever in the north, like far north, I have a whole backpack in a crevasse full of things. I've
I
got
have many
a pretty big
things.
diamond. Do you want that?
No, I don't need
No, okay.
diamonds. I don't need gems.
What do you want then?
What's something that only you can offer?
I've got a ring that like has my family crest on it. You want that?
Let me see it.
Show him the ring.
Very large claws. Tink. Slide it off your finger. He looks at it. This will do for the Book of Family. That seems appropriate. As for the book about my cousin, I feel like asking for the axe is a little improper. Appropriate, but impolite.
What would you like then?
How did you meet my cousin?
It's the funniest story. I died, and then they brought me back to life, and best buds ever since.
What do you want that memory to look like?
What do you mean look like?
My cousin raising you is not typical. It's almost kind of her. If nothing else, this is either a moment of weakness for her or redemption.
We're hoping for the first one.
What was the first thing you saw when you woke up? Or the last thing you saw before you passed?
Nothing that important, I guess.
Something simple. Something that if you were to hold it again, you would be back there.
I don't know. I didn't really have very much at the time.
Nothing around you, a branch, a rock.
There were a few rocks. I don't have any rocks, though.
Just tell me what you remember. In as much
Okay,
detail as you can remember.
From like before?
Before, during, after, any of it.
Oh, all right. So I was walking through a forest, no idea where. It was on a whole adventure, and there was some rocks and some trees. Some of the rocks had like little pictures on them, very cute. And then I just kind of died. And then when I came back, the rocks with the pictures were back there. I went the other way, towards more forest.
You don't remember her at all there.
Very faint. She looked like a nice blue lady.
May I poke deeper? Do I have
Poke
your permission?
away. As long as my brain doesn't feel funny later.
I can make no promises of that. My friends, if you would like to gather around, and Lami, would you like your friends to watch, or would you prefer some privacy?
No, I don't care what they watch. They've seen me do a lot of weird things.
I will leave that up to all of you. But this may prove interesting and useful against my cousin.
Sure, fuck it, why not?
Send it.
Yachty clumps around the desk, and as he does, you hear this. As Thalia, you recognize the sound of him polymorphing, shrinking back down to human size. And he comes around, and you all see this broad-chested, bronze-skinned individual, again covered in purple robes with gems and rings of gold, but the same bright, glowing intensity in his eyes as Yachty. And he comes around, and he takes both hands of yours, Lami, and reaches over and just kind of curls his hand, and sort of from out of the table, a large bowl lifts. Just plain silver bowl filled with water. Brings it over, sets it in front of you, and takes your hands, Lami, and places them in the water with his own, pressing them down in, and looks directly into your eyes. And for a moment, there's nothing, just staring into those bright yellow eyes until they start to glow. And those of you around the table see something in the water, something very similar to what Lami was talking about. You see familiar looking hands, younger, less worn, less beaten, and with no armor. You see Lami's hands moving from his perspective, walking forward, stumbling forward. The memory is spotty, it skips in places. This is someone who, there's a sense of panic, there's a sense of motion and frustration at circling the same places over and over again. Lami is lost in these woods. And you start to notice the strange pictures on the rocks. Lami, what do some of those pictures look like?
Oh, I was envisioning runes and things.
What language?
Symbol.
A language that you recognize?
It's probably in Kaminoan. I don't know. No, not a language I recognize.
There's some small scripts, some small like notes and like cute couples carving their names into trees and things, but there are large runes on some of these rocks. Ronan, you can read them. They're in giant.
They're in giant?
The smallest giant you have ever seen.
I was gonna say, these must be some pretty fucking big rocks. What does this giant say? I have learned to write small.
It is.
Here is my secret.
It is.
Just says, "Hi, I'm a
not
giant."
Words. They are runes. They are shapes. They are magical in nature. And as Lami passes them, they sit inert on these rocks. Lami stumbles, falls onto his face, rolls over, kind of scoots up so his back is up against a tree, and he's looking. And as his breathing slows, and Lami, you feel your breathing slow as you're reliving this moment, your eyes start to flutter closed. There is a tremendous whooshing sound. A heavy sound of impact. and the last thing you see before you pass Lami is these runes beginning to glow with blue light. And the next thing you know, you feel two warm hands caressing the side of your face, picking you up, and as your eyes open one at a time, blinking, trying to focus, there is a woman's face. Your mother's face, looking down at you. She looks a little sad. And then lays you back against the stump. Pats you on the head. Before she goes, she turns and makes a gesture in the air. And you feel like a blanket has just been thrown over you. And that her face is obscured. Her shape is kind of obscured, but you recognize this blue flowing cloak that she's wearing. And you hear a voice that is somewhere between Yeva's and your mother's say, "Rise, son of fire." And the stones begin to fade as she walks away. And a few moments later, whatever spell you were under snaps you out of it. You do not remember her face. You remember falling asleep. May have been a nap. And the stones have changed. They are not glowing, but the runes themselves have changed. And you stand up. Shake yourself off. Proceed further into the woods, where the memory ends.
So is that what actually happened, or did you just make that happen?
You made that happen, my friend.
What does that mean?
That is what happened. There was something in the way, I think. I had to peel it off like a band-aid, like a bandage, so the memory would sit true again. Who was that woman?
That was my mother.
Well, that was not the answer I was expecting.
Me either. And you know what? Now I'm not paying for the book. It's wrong.
I will personally see to it that this book is corrected.
Well, no, I'm taking it, but it's wrong. I'll fix it.
Wait, Son of Fire. Isn't that cult you joined? The first one?
Yeah. Kinda. Yeah.
The one that melted Lythar's chest?
That's the one. The one with the cool necklace that somebody put into a cannon.
That was before the person took away the cannon supplies and then didn't give it back to me after a personally reasonable exchange.
Narrator voice. It was not a perfectly reasonable exchange.
It was.
in
They
fact,
wouldn't
was
give
not.
them to me after the agreement, and then I threw him off a cliff.
That was the reasonable part.
That was the reasonable part.
I can't imagine why you didn't go along with this plan.
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well,
So-
I'm having a midlife crisis now.
Well, now
I
seems
thought
like
you
a very
already
good
were.
time to have one.
How many can you have at the same time?
At least 6.
Thank you, Ronan.
You're welcome. Hey, on the bright side, now both of us have at least one dead family member.
Well, no, I have apparently 2 alive family members. It's just weird now.
Why is it weird?
Well, I didn't know my father was alive, and apparently he's been accused of murdering my mother, and just sent away on his own quest. They banished him, and I now, the one who didn't murder my mother, apparently want to murder my mother.
What's your mother have to do with this?
What? I don't know. I didn't think it was my mother who revived me in the first place. I thought it was Yeva. You see the confusion here?
So is Yeva your mother?
I don't know anymore.
Is he your uncle?
I don't think the book said that.
No, I am not your uncle. And there's a problem with this memory.
Oh. Well, you could have said that earlier.
Unless I'm mistaken, and she's done a very good job of hiding it, Yeva is dead.
What?
The axe wants to return home, right?
To her skull in the cave. Did
So
Did
how
no one
did
else
she
put that
revive
together?
you if her skull is in a cave?
Yeah. I never really thought it was her skull in a cave, to be fair.
That is a fair assessment.
So your mommy is a zealot of the blue lady who's your cousin, which makes
Man.
him your weird zealot uncle. And
Again, no.
through Yeva's power, through the zealot that was Lami's mother, revived him through the power of Yeva,
No.
and then
The
disappeared
power of Yeva!
to never be seen again. Unless, of course, she wants to be seen, then she'll see you before we see her, so watch out.
Ronan, you make my head hurt someday.
That's a deep red versus blue cut. Deep. To, like, episode 10.
But,
Lami's the time traveler all along, because he was dead.
I think I need to time travel to a bar right now because I am lost.
Pull out the alchemy jug and I say, ale. I forget what liquid we put in it. Whiskey?
Rum.
I don't remember
Is
either.
the-
I think it was rum.
Rum. Rum. Rum! Yeah, Lami.
Here's a big old jug of rum for you, Lami.
I don't
Drink
like
all of it,
rum,
bottoms
Ronan,
up.
thank you. Not for me.
Hand it to Thalia.
Chugs it. Yeva looking at the bowl with his hand still in it.
Yati?
Yes, Yati. Sorry. Why did I make all of my dragon names starts with Y in here? Fuck.
I
Who
don't
did
know.
this to
Why
me?
do I have 5 NPCs all named Gendrin, Gundrin, Gundrin, and Genji?
That's because you hate yourself.
It's just the noise he makes when he's improvising.
Yep.
Starts again every time.
Nyati, still with his hands in the bowl. Allow me, this will be sufficient for the books, I think.
I would hope so, because now my the whole life is flipped upside down.
Well, that's what knowledge brings you.
And now I'm living in Bel Air.
No, you're in Condo. I'm sorry that this has brought more hardship.
It's not hardship, it's confusionship.
It has raised questions that I did not intend to raise.
Well, you know, sometimes you just have to have that weird conversation.
We do have to have that awkward chat from time to time.
So what do you guys think about the anything now? Dahlia, Ronan.
I'm old.
Yep. Well, now what?
I mean, Yati, is there any more information about the Citadel here?
Oh my god, I hope there's something
terribly
about the
sorry.
Citadel that will give me another life crisis.
I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. Aside from the launching, there is very, very little. I do have schematics and information there that may prove useful.
Is there anyone on it?
That I do not have.
Was there anyone on it?
I do not know either. What I can tell you...
Is there anyone on it?
He pulls out very old onion skin paper blueprints, starts laying them out. From this information that I have, it was designed to be a flying city. Because if you're fighting a war against an entire army of underground people, it's harder for them to get you in the sky.
So there are people on it. So they're the people sending people back in time.
Theoretically, there are people on it. If there are any more, I'm unsure. It may have crashed into the ocean. Imagine if you were living on this city that required constant attention to remain afloat, and all of a sudden all memories of how it operated, all memories of how it existed, vanished.
That seems like an oversight.
Well, this was built as a weapon of war, and those weapons were meant to be erased.
You
With
would
that
think
wish.
that there would have been like a manual.
There may have been. I'm unsure. I was not privy to that portion of things. You will believe who I had to bribe to get these blueprints before the abridgment. Passenger manifests were unavailable to me.
So how did you remember the abridgment?
I helped negotiate between the sides. I was there for the casting.
So how many other people know about it?
Alive?
Yeah.
As far
Or
as I know.
dead.
Dead? Well, 14 mages.
Do you have their names? Was one Roy G. Biv?
No. Roy was not one of the mages. I
Oh
can
my.
gather those names for you.
That would be
It will
awesome.
take some time. They're... To avoid a hero complex, their names were unmarked in history. You don't want to go around being, I'm one of the 7 secret wizards that ended a war, ended genocide for everyone, saved the entire planet. Because then everyone starts asking questions like, what genocide and what war? And that just causes additional problems, as you may have seen. Those 7, a few facilitators of the agreement. Ergen, for one. Unfortunately, he may be a little harder to communicate with than he used to be. We tried to keep the number down in an effort to maintain secrecy. The more individuals you have knowing a secret like that, the harder it is to keep. And if you are changing the world around you, the worlds around you, that circle of friends and that circle of secrets must be kept very, very small. From that memory of your friend Ergen, from these blueprints, from everything I've seen, we know it took off. We know it took flight. There should be sign of it somewhere having landed, and we have not found any of it. 100 years is not enough time for it to be buried under a mountain. So it's either in the deep ocean, or it's still in the skies somewhere. And to answer your earlier question, Ronan, we have not found anything beneath those gates that still exist. We have tunnels. Talon and I have gone on a few expeditions of our own, but we have found nothing living where the Selbians used to live.
I mean, a whole civilization dying out after they were locked underground. Seems like someone might feel guilty. Perhaps the people living in the sky with Robbie in the future when he turns.
I hate that sentence. I hate that sentence so much. Yes. Or you will have a quick flash as Yati's thinking, a flashback to that memory, remembering watching the Citadel take off and fly. Lami, as you're looking at this memory, like all of you are kind of taking that second and thinking back on that memory, your gaze wanders to the geography. and you recognize the mountain ranges around you, as you're not too far outside of Kondo proper, the Kondo Oasis, the center of town. Like you are near it, wherever the Citadel launched from is nearby.
Oh.
Thalia and Ronan looking around and thinking and remembering Ergen's thought of, that's how we get them out. Tickles something. If you're going to have a race of underground people, you'd never think to look for them on a flying city. Would you?
They put all of the people living underground on a city and put it in the sky?
Just take Bikini Bottom and move it over there.
How many people live down there? Like 200? How big is the Citadel?
Big.
I mean, I was picturing like a Walmart. Like a Walmart super center in a more aerodynamic shape.
With the parking lot?
Yes.
Oh,
That's
you
where the
could fit a
people
lot
walk around.
in a
City.
Walmart.
Or
City.
Kai's
City.
place from
It's a
Dragon
city.
Ball
He
Z.
said it's a city.
City.
So it's
Densely
Atlantis.
packed population.
And the robots are the replicators.
No. God,
and
no.
the teleportation circles are the stargates.
We're going to see Nimbus.
So the underground people are in the air.
That's
Are any of the people in the air people who would remember? Oh, that's even a worse design. So
Well,
you put the people under the ground in the air, and then you wiped all of their memories on how the up worked when they only knew down? That's one of the worst ideas I've heard in the last 15 minutes, and I've had a lot of bad ones.
What do you mean?
Because basically you're just putting them up there to die.
it's a city.
That none of them now know how to operate.
Just
So
do
it's
city
like-
things. I don't
Perhaps there's a manual somewhere.
Well, perhaps. I hope so. So how high up was it?
know. It's clearly very high up, considering we
Don't know.
haven't seen a floating city around us, Ronan.
How often have we looked?
Well,
That's a valid
not
question.
very hard. But it's not. It wasn't far away from here, from the city,
Where was it?
around in the desert.
Hopefully.
I don't know of anybody who knows of
I
a floating city in the
swear-
desert.
To Firo. If the launch site is where all that green glow shit from space is, I'm gonna lose it.
I can't. I don't know. I don't think it was
You're
there.
the one that lives here.
I don't think it was there.
It was
Oh.
not. Yeah, your memory of the mountain ranges and everything is not. No, it's not where the crater is. It's not in the dead zone.
If only we had a map we could point at.
If only we had a map. Oh darn, that'll be next week when I have the battle map presentation ready for the stream. Because Callus was
Battle
kind enough
map?
to get me one of those.
Where are we
Ooh,
fighting?
The
the desert.
plot apparently. But yeah, so it is 10 o'clock. If we want, I know we had a bit of a late start, but we can wrap here and chew on the plot for a little longer. And
Makes sense.
yeah, we can come back. But yeah, I think this is a half decent stopping point. I'm sure there will be questions, many questions. Ba-da-ba-ba. What am I
The down
thinking?
or in the up?
Calendar. Let me check what's going on. So yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. Quick volley of announcements. The Fall of Mortu finale is tomorrow.
What?
They are wrapping up their show. So we will be tune in for that at 9 p.m. Eastern time over here. And then, Chris, do you have...
So far, Josh and I can be there.
Great. So you have a quarter of your party together.
Less than that. Yeah.
You have you and a quarter of your party together for that game. So keep an eye out on the social medias for If Idiot's Guide is coming back on Sunday for a goofy grand old time. That being said, again, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for playing. I'm sorry for beating you all over the head with plot and time travel shit. That's a lot. Shoot me questions. We'll get it cleared up, and we will proceed apace. So, thank you all for playing. Lovely to see all your faces, and we will see y'all fine folks in the future. Bye.